Right, what's up, Dragon Brood? It's PowrDragn getting to review some dragons because it's Tarkir Dragonstorm. So we're not going to waste any time because there is a ton of cards to cover, and I'm going to go as fast as I can so this isn't a super long video. All right, for starters, we have Temur Battlecrier. It's a green, a blue, and a red for a 4/3 Orc Ranger. Cool that orcs are a thing again. During your turn, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. This is one of those ones that may or may not be good. It's 3 colors for 4/3, which is kind of fine, but not great. But if your deck is based around a lot of really large creatures, maybe you're playing different things that ramp on turn 1 or 2, maybe, this could be playable. That's probably the most we can say about it till we see everything else in the set. Encroaching Dragonstorm, though this looks like the promo version, which we'll probably get for FNMs or something. It's 4 mana, so 3 colors and a green for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, then put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. When a dragon you control enters, return this card to its owner's hand. This is actually solid. I mean, when you're trying to wrap, we've played cards before that were just 4 mana, put 2 lands in the battlefield, right? If you're willing to do that with this, and you could possibly replay it with the dragon, it seems pretty good. It just depends on what we're ramping with and how many dragons we want to play, because oftentimes the dragons we want to play with don't happen to have green in the cost. Channeled Dragonfire, or Channeled Dragonfire, I should say. It's 1 red for a sorcery. Channeled Dragonfire deals 2 damage to any target. You can Harmonize for 7. Yeah, and it looks like Harmonize is a new ability to where you can pay that cost out of the graveyard, but also can reduce that cost by tapping a creature, and it's reduced by the power of that creature. So if you're playing this with a lot of dragons, there is a chance you'll be able to play this out of your graveyard for 1 or 2 mana. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this works out. Strategic Betrayal, a colorless and a black, target opponent exiles a creature they control and their graveyard. Wow, okay, so they lose a creature and their graveyard. I mean, it is sorcery speed, so I guess that's fair, but that's kind of wild to have those. I was going to say, when I first read it, my brain wanted to say, Psyker exiles a creature and a creature from their graveyard, but nope. It's just lose the graveyard and a creature. This could definitely see some play, depending on what the metagame looks like. Static Snare. I feel like we've had this before, or maybe a version of this. Either way, Static Snare is 5 mana, enchantment, flash, that costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature. Then when it enters, exile a target artifact or creature an opponent controls until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. We always get a version of this every other set, it seems like. So possibly you get to play this for 1 or 2 mana sometimes, which is kind of sweet. But we'll see. Definitely we'll see some play, though, I think. Also, heads up, because there's so many cards to talk about, I'm skipping over some of the comments, and unless they just look particularly interesting when I read them at first blush. Oh, also, don't forget, if you want to support the channel, please remember to subscribe, and if you want some other cool free stuff, check out the memberships down below. Next card, Bloomvine Regent. This is 5 mana, 3 green for a 4/5, which has flying. Whenever this creature or another dragon you control enters, you gain 3 life. That could be kind of useful. The card itself is also a dragon. And then it has an adventure, claim, or omen, I guess it is. Claim territory. You search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards, reveal them, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into your hand. And I have to be clear here, it doesn't work like an adventure. My understanding of omens, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that once you use them, they get shuffled back into the library. So your opponent knows what's coming, but you just don't have access to it immediately like you do in adventure. So this is basically like giving you 2 different spells entirely, but you get a chance to redraw the creature later. As for the card, I mean, it's totally playable, right? It ramps. I mean, we've played various versions of 3 mana, put a land into play, put 1 in your hand, or, go get 2 lands, you can play a land, some version of that. So this is playable just as a sorcery, but you at least get a big creature later. So if you're looking to ramp into some big things, could be a thing. Taval, Arbiter of Virtue, 2 colorless, black, green, blue. So we have 5 total mana. 6/6, Spirit Dragon, flying, lifelink. Spirits you cast have Delve. Alright. And Delve says each card you exile from your graveyard while casting those cards or spells you pay for 1. For each card from your graveyard you exile while casting those spells pays for 1. Oh, that's worded very weird. It reduces the cost, but the way they worded that just feels weird. Anyway, Whenever you cast a spell, you lose life equal to its mana value. Oh, this is interesting. So you get a 5 mana 6/6 with flying and lifelink. All your spells get delve, but the trade-off is you lose life when you cast spells. So you're hoping you connect with the lifelink things. Ooh, this feels like something you build a deck around. And it feels like if you do, there's a chance the deck is actually really strong. Giving everything delve can't be bad. But also has a chance to backfire. So could be interesting. Looks like we are going to actually have waste in this set, so I will have to be careful and finally appease everybody about things that are colorless and things that are generic mana. But you know what I'm saying half the time anyway. But yeah, waste. They're back. Cool artwork here, by the way, with that dragon eye. I'm not going to go over them all, but each color group got a monument, and they're 2 mana. When it enters, you search for one of the 3 basic land types of that type. And then they have some costs that let you get a creature of some type. This one makes a 5/5 green elephant. But yeah, don't know if these are going to be useful or not, but they do let you search for a land, so it at least makes them somewhat playable. But it'd be interesting to see. Limited, they obviously have a bit more value. Sunset Strike Master. You have 1 in a red for a 3/1 human monk. Tap, add a red. Pay 3, sacrifice it. It deals 6 damage to target creature with flying. I'm highlighting this one mostly because it's a red creature that just taps for mana. So this is going to be good if you're playing any type of Sultai stuff that wants to be making big dragons. Maybe even just mono red, big red type stuff that just wants to ramp up for things. And later in the game, it does deal 6 damage to a flyer. So yeah, in a World of Dragons, this is actually probably playable. And it is a 3/1, so it's not like it's small. Oh, I guess each color got a corroding something or other, but this is Corroding Dragonstorm. You have 1 in a black for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life and surveil 2. When a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner. Why is this so good? Opponent loses 2, you gain 2, and you surveil 2 for 2 mana, even if this never goes back to your hand. But if you are bouncing it because you happen to be playing dragons, well, now you have an automatically drain 2, surveil 2 again for 2 mana. Like, yeah, this has to at least be somewhat playable. Duty Beyond Death. 1 in a white, instant. As additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Creatures you control gain indestructible in turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This has real potential. Where you're talking about the hyper aggro decks, the Boros tokens aggro stuff, the Naya tokens things. The artifact based decks tend to make a lot of artifact small creatures, tokens. This could do a lot because you're talking about giving everything indestructible. So even if you just had to give up a creature to protect 2 or 3 others from, say, like a Day of Judgment, that's still fine, right? Like this might actually be a legit card. This is kind of interesting. Stalwart Successor. 1 black green for a 3/2, kind of small. It does have menace, which is good. It's a human warrior. Whenever 1 or more counters are put on a creature you control, if it's the first time counters have been put on this creature this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. So it adds an extra counter for the first time each turn. Don't know if this is as good as the other thing, putting just a 1 on everything, but if you want to go +1/+1s with black green, it might be an option. I'd have to see the rest of the set though to see how much that strategy is fleshed out. Undergrowth Leopard. 1 in a green for a 2/2 cat with vigilance. You can pay 1, sacrifice it, destroy target artifact or an enchantment. This is at least worth highlighting because the white green cat stacks have been a little light on green. A lot of times they're just playing a couple of the legends or 1 or 2 spells. But this is an actual cat. It has vigilance and gives the deck a way to destroy artifacts and enchantments. Because I believe the only other cat we have you could sacrifice to destroy an enchantment. So this could be helpful for white-green cats. Caustic Exhale. 1 black, instant, is an additional cost to cast this spell. Behold a dragon or pay 1. Behold is you basically have to reveal a dragon. Yeah, choose a dragon you control or reveal a dragon. Target creature gets -3/-3 till end of turn. At some point we're not going to have cut down. And then this becomes somewhat of a real option. If you're playing dragons, obviously. If not, we'll see. But at worst, it is 2 mana instant, give something -3/-3. That still has a lot of value. Taigam Master Opportunist. 1 in a blue for a 2/2 human monk and has flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you copy it. Then exile the spell you cast with 4 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. And Flurry, I guess, says at the beginning of its owner's upkeep, they remove a time counter. When the last is removed, they may play it without playing its mana cost. If it's a creature, it has haste. So this is interesting. So this lets you copy a spell. You get one right now, which is the copy, but then the regular one gets exiled with suspend counters on it. I don't know how I feel about this. Cause like it's okay until say you get 2 turns or more down the road, then it becomes exceptional. So, have a feeling something busted's gonna happen with this card, and we just don't see it right now. Voice of Victory, 1 and a white for a 1/3 human bard, mobilize 2. Whenever this creature attacks, create 2 tapped and attacking 1/1 red warrior creature tokens. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Your opponent can't cast spells during your turn. This is just generally solid. Like, it's a quality creature. It's a 1/3, so it's not like the biggest beater, but it does make 2 1/1s when you attack. There's a lot of things that trigger off creatures entering the battlefield. Man, opponent can't play stuff in your turn that was pretty strong, honestly. So yeah, I don't know where this belongs. I don't know if it goes in a human deck, if it goes in a tokens deck, but it will probably find some space, if nothing else, even in sideboards. Anusidisi, Regent of the Mire, 1 and a black. I notice a lot of these rares are actually fairly cheap to cast. It's a zombie snake warrior, so we get a new zombie. 1/3, tap it, sacrifice creature you control with mana value X other than Sidisi. Return target creature card with mana value X+1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. So it's like a reverse birthing pod, where you take something and play to get something out of the graveyard. Okay, that's fine. I mean, the zombies did need some other quality early creature. It's a 1/3, so it's not like super exceptional, but it at least is something, so we get a little bit closer. Okay, so they're not using any naming convention here. They're all different. Roiling Dragonstorm here, though. They're all something Dragonstorm, I guess. 1 and a blue. Enchantment. When this enchantment enters, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Then if you have a dragon enter, return this enchantment to your hand. Another one that's just good, right? You draw 2, discard a card. Like, just a bonus for playing a dragon. So, yeah, nothing wrong with this. This is reasonable. This is a thing some decks would probably already play for 2 mana, and you just get upside. Looks like we have Sagas, Rediscover the Way, blue, red, white. First 2 chapters are look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So you get the best of your top 3 cards twice. And then the third is whenever you cast a non-creature spell this turn, target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, this has to be playable, right? You pay 3 to look at your top 3, take the best card. Then the next turn, for free, you look at the top 3, get the best card. And then you could save a couple of 1 mana spells, potentially, to then just have a couple things get double strike. What's funny is I could even see the first 2 chapters being used in some decks that aren't even playing that many creatures, except for maybe a couple of bigger finisher types. So I think this is playable. I don't think it's like exceptional, which I could be wrong, but it is definitely playable. Oh, what is this thing? It looks crazy. Karsi Revenant, 1 black for a 3/3 vampire. It has flying Death Touch lifelink, so it's a bigger Vampire Nighthawk, because Vampire Nighthawk's a 2/3 and this is a 3/3. It also has Renew. You can pay 2 and a black, exile this card from your graveyard, put a flying counter, a Death Touch counter, and a lifelink counter on target creature. Activate as a sorcery. Yeah, this is just, like, is there a reason I would play? They're both even vampires. Yeah, this is literally Vampire Nighthawk Plus. Same cost, bigger power, and you get a graveyard ability. Like, if you were going to play Nighthawk, you just play this. Or I guess you could play them both. Why not? Meringue River Regents. This is a dragon that's 6 mana, 4 and 2 blue. Flying, when this creature enters, return up to 2 other target non-land permanents to their owner's hands, and it's a 6/7. That is powerful. Get a 6/7 flyer, and you return 2 not creatures, non-land permanents. That is really good. And then the Omen is for 4 mana, draw 3 cards and discard a card, which is totally acceptable. This is the type of card that could be in a control deck where you're already wanting to play things that draw cards. And it's an instant to do that, by the way. So if you don't end up, your opponent doesn't play anything, you don't counter stuff, great. I'll just draw 3, discard a card. And then later on down the road when you draw it, okay, now I have a 6/7 and I'm going to bounce some stuff so I'm not dying. Like this card, well, I could see this being like the upper end finisher for some decks. Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. It's a land that taps for a colorless, add 1 mana of any color, spend it only to cast dragon spells or omens, pay 4 and tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle. Here's an interesting thing, right? If I was going to play a bunch of dragons, you're kind of caught between, I guess you don't even have to choose, because you could play this and play Cavern Souls, but then you could end up with an issue not having actual mana to be able to cast some of your other spells. So you kind of have to pick and choose. But that'd be an interesting problem to figure out in deck building. But yeah, if you're playing dragons, this is definitely a card worth playing. Frostcliff Siege. 1 blue-red for an enchantment. When it enters, you choose Jeskai or Temur. Jeskai says, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. Temur says, creatures you control get +1, +0, and have trample and haste. Yeah, I like both sides of this. And depending on the type of deck I'm playing, you might legitimately just be like, okay, I'd rather have more cards. But, I mean, every creature getting a +1, trample, and haste, like, bruh, and Temur already has big creatures. You're probably going to be playing dragons. Man, this is good. This is actually really good. Ureni, the Song Unending. Oh, gosh, this is huge. 5 green, blue, red for a 10/10 legendary spirit dragon. My goodness. Flying, protection from white and black. All right. When it enters, it deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers your opponents control, where X is the number of lands you control. All right, okay. If you're ramping, this already kind of makes sense, right? You can get to 8. You get a 10/10. It's protection from white and black, which is important because those are the 2 most popular removal colors right now that would have a way for 2 or 3 mana to get rid of a 10/10. So that's actually pretty legit. And you're realistically probably going to deal 8-9 damage split up, killing 2 or 3 creatures at a minimum. This is tricky. If I'm already playing dragons and ramping, then I'm going to go ahead and play it. But I don't think you just toss it in because you're playing Temur. You kind of have to have a deck built to utilize it. Nariv. I guess that's how you say it. Maybe Nariv, just almost as like 1 syllable. Anyway, Heart of the Storm. 1 red, white, black. Legendary Spirit Dragon. 4/5. Flying. If a creature you control that entered this turn would deal damage, it deals twice that damage instead. So there's a few things going on here. It's only 4 mana for a 4/5 flyer, which is pretty sweet. The ability is big because there's a lot of creatures that can enter, deal 2, cast this thing triggers, deal damage. I think I wouldn't want to play a lot of bad creatures to justify this card, but if we get, say, even 2 different, so we could have at least 8 copies total of some other quality creatures that ping when they come into play, I could be into this. And there's a few things, honestly, already that exist. Some of the lizards and things ping when they enter the battlefield or trigger from other things entering. So yeah, there could be a deck built around this for sure. Looks like we get another Elspeth Planeswalker card. Elspeth Storm Slayer. 5 mana, so 3 white for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. All right, if you want this, get it now. Anything that doubles a number of tokens or counters always is pricey and is always sought after. That's just the nature of Magic, y'all. +1, make a token soldier, which will be 2, obviously. For 0, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. What? Those creatures gain flying until... I wasn't even on the second line. Those creatures gain flying until your next turn. Wow. And -3, destroy target creature with mana value 3 or greater. Yeah, this is really good. There's no lifelink or anything on this card, but being able to make 2 creatures to block and protect itself is strong. Actually, I just realized the flying isn't even until end of turn. It's until your next turn. So you could literally just play Elspeth, everything gets a +1 and has flying, so I can guaranteed block and protect it. And now you can back-to-back turns get rid of a thing that's 3 or greater. Like, this card's great. Yeah, this is awesome. Betor, kin to all. Actually, that's kind of a cool looking piece of art, honestly. Actually, is the whole thing like a dragon tail up front? Because that's what it looks like. If so, that's a long dragon. Anyway, 2 white, green, black for a 5/7 Spirit Dragon Legend. Flying, at the beginning of your end step, if creatures you control have total toughness, 10, not power, interestingly, toughness, 10 or greater, you draw a card. If creatures you control have total toughness 20 or greater, untap each creature you control. Then if creatures you control have total toughness 40 or greater, each opponent loses half their life rounded up. You know, there's enough of the big green turtles and things that are 2/6s, you know, what is that one as like a 010 or something? Like, we have some pretty silly stuff you could play with this that aren't necessarily bad. You know what? I don't think this is going to be like a top tier metagame contender, but there could be a pretty sweet deck built with this. Anafenza, Unyielding Lineage, a 2 and a white, legendary creature, Spirit Soldier. It's a 2/2, flash, first strike. When another non-token creature you control dies, Anafenza endures. Endure says you put 2 +1/+1 counters on it or create a 2/2 white spirit creature token. When another non-token creature you control dies. So that's a real thing. Like, it has to be a non-token creature, so that's something. But it does have flash, so that's kind of nice. I don't know how good this is. It has a lot of words, and they feel important, but I feel like it's going to underperform more often than not. All Out Assault. 2 red, white, black, so 5 mana for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. When this enchantment enters, if it's your main phase, there's an additional combat phase after this phase, followed by an additional main phase. When you next attack this turn, untap each creature you control. So it's during your main phase when you do this. You play it, you attack. Then there's another combat, and you will untap everything to get a whole new combat with everything having +1/+1 and Death Touch. So this is like the best version of the get another attack type cards. Yeah, it's playable. I mean, you know what? If we're pairing this with the dragon, the 4 mana dragon, right, that has all your stuff already pinging your opponents, and you're pinging them on turns, let's say 1 through 4, maybe 1 through 3, you play the dragon on 4, you play this, get a big attack in, like, your opponent might just be dead. Genuinely. Especially with everything having Death Touch. So, like, yeah, this is probably... I don't think you play a lot of them. Maybe it's like a 2 of in a deck. But possible. Kotis, the Fang Keeper. That is a sweet piece of art. Artist is going to make a lot of money selling this thing. 1 black, green, blue. So 4 mana for a 2/1, which is already not exciting. A zombie warrior, legendary creature, but it is indestructible. Now we're moving up. Whenever Kotis deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of their library, where X is the amount of damage dealt. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. It's a 2/1. It's probably not going to punch past a lot of things. It doesn't have Death Touch, so your opponent can just chump block it forever. It has to connect, and then you're looking at 2 cards and hoping a thing costs 2 or less. I don't think I'm feeling this, which is sad because I started out looking kind of sweet, but yeah, I don't think I'm into this card. Look, another Ugin, which means we're gonna hate it. Ugin, Eyes of the Storm for 7 mana. You get a 7 loyalty planeswalker, which can be hard to kill. When you cast this spell, exile up to 1 target permanent that's 1 or more colors. So you get to exile something when you play it straight up. Then whenever you cast a color spell, you get to exile up to 1 target permanent. So this is wild. You gain 3 life and draw a card for the +2, so it goes to 9. You can also add 3 colorless mana, and you can -10, search your library for any number of colorless non-land cards, exile them, then shuffle until end of turn. Yeah, like, let's be real. This is a card that you're probably just going to play with a bunch of artifacts, ramp, whatever, and then just go nuts with it. Like, this card's really good. Just so I know, there were so many cards. I took a break to go play some Magic stuff with Magic Mics and came back, and the next card is Craterhoof Behemoth. Like, what are we doing? So this now means that elves are going to have access to Craterhoof Behemoth in Standard. Like, if you don't know what Craterhoof is, it's 8 mana, 5/5, has haste. When it enters, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X till end turn, where X is the number of other creatures you control. Let's also put into effect, you can play this in decks with Collector's Cage. We already have like 5 or 6 tokens. Like, this also is a viable kill spell in those. Like, oh my god, like this is crazy. This this has been 3 banger cards in a row. Like, this is a lot. Draco Genesis. This is 8 mana, 6 red. It's an enchantment. When you cast a dragon, you may cast dragon spells without paying their mana cost. Oh, see, now this gets interesting depending on how you build, especially if you're playing something like any of the red cards that like let you exile a thing during your upkeep and you can play it that turn. Like, oh, this could be cool. This could be really neat. United Battlefront. This is 3 and a white for a sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Okay, I don't even know what this does yet, but looking at 7's a lot. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to 2 non-creature, non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, so put up to 2 non-creature, non-land permanents. Interesting. So you're playing this in some deck where maybe you're wanting to get artifacts or enchantments. I don't like, this is one of those cards that it has all the right words to be good. I just don't know off the top of my head what we would do with it just yet. So yeah, it's going to be hard to predict what's going to happen with this, but this will likely show up somewhere. Rally the Monastery. This is 3 and a white instant. This spell costs 2 less if you've cast a spell this turn. Choose 1. You create 2 1/1 monks with prowess. Up to 2 target creatures you control each get +2/+2, or destroy target creature of power 4 or greater. I like the flexibility of this, honestly. Even if you don't get it at the reduced costs, like you're either getting 2 creatures, pumping 2 things, or destroying a big creature for 4 mana. And it's a lot of times where like you could play a thing pre-combat, attack, and then, you know, have some combat tricks available. It's neat. It could be useful. I don't think it's going to be a game breaker of any kind, but it's at least interesting. Mox Jasper. It's 0, as most Moxes are. It's a legendary artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if you control a dragon. This feels like it's going to be expensive because it says the word Mox on it, but the reality is it's okay if you have it in a dragon deck, but you have to have a dragon first before this even does anything. So, I don't think it's going to be as exciting as people want it to be. Skirmish Rhino. A white, a black, and a green. It's a 3/4 Rhino. Obviously, it's in the name. It has trample. When this creature enters, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. I mean, here's the thing. If you know anything about actual Siege Rhino, it was pretty good. This is like a small Siege Rhino. 3/4 for 3 with trample and drain your opponent for 2. If you're playing these colors, you just go in and just play a full set of 4 of these. Like, this card really is good. Shiko, Paragon of the Way. 2 red, blue, white for a 4/5 flying vigilant. When Shiko enters, exile target non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. You copy it, then you choose you may cast the copy without paying its cost. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones that feels okay. I'm just trying to think, like, how strong does the spell need to be in my graveyard for me to want to play this over other cards at 5 mana. I mean, it's a 4/5 with vigilance and flying for 5, so it's not like it's trash, don't get me wrong. But compared to some of the other dragons we've seen at the 4 and 5 mana costs, I'm not super excited about this ability, but I will say in Jeskai colors, you will likely have some spell that either is like deals damage to a thing, bounces a thing, maybe draw some cards, and that might be good enough because you just get it for free on top of all the other stuff you're getting for 5 mana. Inevitable Defeat. 1 red, white, black, instant. The spell can't be countered. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of straightforward. Your opponent's not going to stop it. And you exile a thing, which, by the way, if we're already giving this much value and it can't be countered, why is it an exile effect? It should just be destroy the thing. Like, having more exile things is just... but anyway, that's a different argument. Card is good. You're going to see it. People are going to play it. Baron Step Siege. 2 white, black, so 4 mana for an enchantment. When it enters, choose Abzan or Mardu. Abzan side says at the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Mardu side says at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. Both of these are really good. I mean, if you're playing this with any type of token builds, any type of +1/+1 counter stuff, I mean, yeah, like this could just be problematic on either side. This is actually really good. I could see this making its way into a few different decks. Stormscale Scion. 4 red red, so 6 mana for a 4/4 flying dragon. Other dragons you control get +1/+1, and it has Storm. Storm on a 6 mana thing doesn't feel that exciting, but you only really need to get 1 or 2 copies of this. So if you're playing, especially if you're playing some of those other things that let you play dragons for free or whatever, maybe it's possible you get like 4 of these in a turn, and that's kind of crazy. So I don't know. It's a fine dragon on its own, not good, but if you copy it even once, then it becomes a really good dragon. So we'll see how many storm copies we can get off of this. Smile at Death. 3 white white, an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of those creatures. At the beginning of your upkeep, return up to... Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say about this card, right? It's just... I guess we have to exile things because stuff like this is being printed. I don't know. This is wild. Just keep getting stuff back, and they're bigger than they were last time. Sure. Narset, Jeskai Waymaster. Blue, red, white, so fairly cheap. 3/4, human monk. At the beginning of your end step, you may discard a card from hand. If you do, draw cards equal to the number of spells you've cast this turn. Also, this one's interesting. So now, see, this is the type of card I would be thinking about playing. If you're playing monks with prowess and a bunch of cheap spells or whatever, this feels kind of interesting, right? Because you could even cast like Narset, shoot something, bounce something, discard a card, draw 3 cards, right? Like that's kind of cool. So there's some interesting things you could do with this. I'm not opposed to this. Jeskai or Narset could be kind of sweet. Sarkhan, Dragon Ascendance. 1 and a red for a 2/2. This is a very small Sarkhan. When it's a human druid, when Sarkhan enters, you may behold a dragon. If you do, create a treasure token. Either you choose a dragon you control or reveal one from your hand. When a dragon you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarkhan. And then until the turn, Sarkhan becomes a dragon in addition to its other types and gains flying. Alright, so I mean, like the first turn, you have Sarkhan, you play it, you reveal a dragon from your hand, you make a treasure. If Sarkhan dies, you still are starting at least with 4 mana the next turn to cast a dragon, so that's reasonable. I don't think that's unreal. That's... If you're playing dragons, you would definitely play this. Alright, my goodness, I think we made it. I don't know what... There was so much stuff. Y'all let me know what your favorite is or what you're looking forward to playing with what we know so far, because this feels like if you are a fan of Tarkir, this should be scratching that itch for what you actually want here. So yeah, it'd be cool to see in the comments what y'all actually are excited about after this like pile of cards got dropped on us. And also, if you want to help the channel, watch another video and watch all the way through. The recent Jeopardy stuff was actually pretty sweet. You should check that out if you want some Magic trivia. But that's all of you for now. We'll see you next time.